continue for the next 45 minutes home, talking about him like he's not even there. All the cock he was sucking, the stack of books he had, like he was going to wind up the CEO of an almost failing Marvel at that point because he was sucking such champion cock at this press. It went on and on. And this dude, he went from kind of being like, yeah, right, to being like, yeah, I'm kind of not interested anymore, guys. So then he just started reading comics and then quietly some of the books he bought. And they'd be like hitting him so hard talking about, like, and then you did this, right, Muse? And he was just like, yeah, I did that as well. He just completely fucking disengaged from it, man. And I think that's why we're friends, because I felt so bad for him. Because he went from like, this is awesome, to like, I hate these adults. It was such a weird notion, the notion of like, we were all, let me see, I was 21? I was almost 20, 21, on the cusp of 21. You know, Walter and Brian are 3 years older than me, so like 24. You think younger than 16?
I could be wrong, I felt like I was like 15 or so, 14.
Well, like, what were you trying to do, start Menudo? Why?
I don't know, but you know what? I started, like I knew Brian because I have an older brother and I used to go to the community center all the time and it was mainly just the comics. Why they wanted to break me, I don't know, maybe
they loved you, they thought you were hysterical.
I'm just kidding.
They thought you were hysterical. They were like, no, you're so fucking funny.
It was nice because I really wanted to go to, like I'd never been to a show like this. Like I used to only get the comics of Walter, like he said, Brian,
right.
And Walter would give me their like comics they didn't want. Like be like, here's, you know, this, it's all ripped out the covers. But I loved it. And then I'd buy some comics from the local, like we had Cats with a spin reel and I'd buy some comics.
Cats is fiction.
But I was super in, you guys had talked about like, oh, there's this big show, it's amazing, and there's all these toys and all that, and I really wanted to go, and I don't know, yeah, they just, I think I just asked Brian Walton to please let me go. It'd be so much fun.
It was so strange that like a couple of 20-some, mid-20s people were just like hounding this 15-year-old going like, you suck a lot of dick, don't you? Like it all worked out, like here we are and we're friends and shit, but like if you take it out of context, it almost
a
reads
teenage
like,
boy.
yes, it sounds so unsafe. It's just like, yeah, we would drive around with this 15-year-old and talk about how much dick he sucked. Is that legal? We're like, I don't know, is it?
It would be funny. I remember it was really funny at first, but I just remember they just kept going to where like I couldn't even keep up because then all of a sudden it was like, and then Spider-Man came in and comes all over your face. Fuck by cha-ching. And quarters are falling out your ass because you're, you know, and it was like, yeah, and then, oh my God, and then I did that. What?
Walter gets like real esoteric with the references and shit. Then MODOK is involved. News doesn't have a MODOK-like collection, so he's like, who is that? You know. Then you have to stop and update him. I'm in the back seat going, MODOK, of course. Do you remember being a kid that would always yell comics? This was awesome. One of the things I loved about you the most. We have it a little bit, I think, in Mallrats. But you would just like yell comics all the time, like it was a fucking war cry. Comics! You loved them so much. Just the idea of them, the feel of them and shit like that. It was,
smell of them.
Yeah, and it was so cute because everything else about you was like pussy, 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 comics!
It really was. I remember.
Why do you think that is?
You know, I don't know. I remember going, it's weird when I think about back then reading the books, and I remember thinking about how much I actually did like them. Like even going to the show, I was so excited to go, and then walking in, it really was the same. I feel like it would be the same sensation of like if the world ended and we all got to walk through like some paradise where like you know, some field of flowers and everyone was naked and being like, yeah.
Oh my God, you're using drugs again.
I'm saying it was,
What are you talking about?
I'm saying
When you read comics, everything's beautiful, man. You see the swamp thing.
I know, it wasn't really. I'm saying that I honestly liked comics so much that when I'd walk in a comic show or when I first used to get my new books and I'd start reading them, I feel like
you'd be
really
transported.
really corny, but like I really would be like in there and I'd be like hanging with Orion and shit on his thing. And around Batman would come in and shit, and I'd jump into shit and we'd be hanging out. Like yeah, it was pretty much
It's
like
like Heavenly Creatures. You ever see Heavenly Creatures? Like they'd sit around and talk about the little world they created, and then the world would disappear. Peter Jackson made it, and then all the little clay figures they made were like large-sized people that they would interact with. Sounds like in your head you'd sit there, read the comics, and just be like, I wish I was Peter Parker. And then fucking all of a sudden behind you be like, well, you can't be, but you can swing with me, Spider-Friend. Until you heard like, get the fuck out of the bathroom, Jason!
It was pretty awesome. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's the best I can explain it. But it really was to where I would like, even the smell of comics, I loved them. I mean, going and I was fine with going to the boxes that were like 10 for 5 cents, you know, like just grab, because the more I had, the more I could read and the more I could like blank out. And I don't know, it was...
You think it was? You think it was like, where did you read your comics?
I used to read them walking. I bought myself one of those little headlights, you know, like the strap on the light. And seriously, it's funny. I used to walk to the store all the time, and I'd walk around town reading. And then I'd sit down in the house, and I would just read them everywhere. I literally would read them in the shitter. I'd try to read them in the shower, like I'd put them on the end of the sink, and he's bathing, and I'd be like, and then like I bought one of those, you know, like you can buy the magnifiers so you can't read. Right. So this way I can read them from a distance. So I'd like strap it on the edge of the comic book, and I'd be like, Peter, No, but I did read them.
You had a headlight, you had devices, what else you had, Dana?
My buddy Andy used to come from New York to come visit me, and he hated it because he said all I would do is read, and then he'd be like, hey man, let's go down the boardwalk and we'll get some pizza and we'll play some fucking skee ball or whatever. And the whole time I'd be fucking walking, reading a comic book and shit, and I wouldn't be talking to him. But I don't know, I used to
Until somebody was like, hey man, have you ever tried heroin? And you're like,
I would have been like, ta-ta, Peter Parker! I would like fucking, I had superpowers back then.
yeah.
No, but I would have, no, I had no interest in drugs. And I remember these kids I started hanging out with actually they would do coke and stuff. And I was like, no way, man, I'm not doing any of that stuff. And I've sort of, you know, I've told the story, like, I didn't like drugs and I didn't want to be a part of any of them at all. And I was really into comics. I was into just hanging home and stuff and going out. Like, I really like going to the rec, playing hockey. And no interest in drugs. It wasn't until I met, it was a girl. A girl brought me down. I mean, I wouldn't blame her, but I sort of met her and she was doing it, and that's sort of where I was surrounded. And speaking of, this is where we used to come. We used to take the train up or drive up if we had a car. Like later on we had a car, we drive up here, and I remember this one point, we drove up here and we were rollerblading. I was trying to combine the two. You know, I didn't want to lose, like I love comics and rollerblades. And I wanted, after I started doing dope, like I wanted to combine it. So I'd sit and like she would drive and I'd read my comics and I'd have my rollerblades in the back and I'm like, let's go to the city, we'll go score some dope, and then we'll rollerblade around, you know, like we'll be high and shit. And
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah, so we go and then we'd go get like those like, you know, $20 for an hour in the room and we do our
What,
thing.
hotel room?
Yeah, like they had about this, like, I don't know if it's still there, but I remember there's this little hotel on like St. Margaret Street. And you could pay by, right? You could pay like by the hour or something. It was years. I mean, this is like, shit. It's still there? Oh shit, no, it's still there. I was just there today. Oh shit. I did. I was on my blades and I shot all over. Like, there was sperm and blood. No, it was nasty though, because we'd sit in there and we'd do our thing. We'd fuck, we'd shoot up, and then we'd go rollerblade. This is good. We we were healthy and exercising while we
That'd be like when I would be like, can I give me 2 cakes, a fucking pie, 3 pizzas, and a Diet Coke and a Skittle. This will take the edge off everything else.
You do it. But I'm like going past. I mean, I don't know what sorry, I'm just blanking out here because we were talking about comics. But I'm thinking about. So when I was in the comics, I didn't do drugs till I was 21. Right. Was when I did the dope. So sorry, but up to then I loved comics and I didn't want to.
Yeah, there was a moment where you could kind of. It was sad actually. It was when there was a time where you went from yelling comics to fucking selling comics so that you could get drugs and shit. Like I remember you got a cool ass statue, not a statue, but a prototype of a hobgoblin figure. And it was a 2-up from the folks over at like Toy Biz was doing like Marvel figures. It was gorgeous. It was like this big, and it was the one, the prototype they sculpt, and then they make one to see what it looks like this big, and then before they make the smaller ones. And he had gotten it. It was fucking so fantastic. It was like one of a kind of piece. And then one day he came into the store, Walter said, and I came into the store actually to see in the case, the glass case, was that hobgoblin statue. And I was like, where's it? How did this get here? And Walter was like, Muse came in and sold it. I was like, to the fucking store? He goes, yeah. I was like, what'd you give him? He's like, not much. And I was like, why? He was going, because you know he's going to do with the money. And I was like, no, what? And he was like, he's going to use drugs. I was like, Muse doesn't do drugs. That was back in the innocent days, man. But yeah, there was that period where you were kind of giving up on the comic's dream for the heroin reality. One heroin for another.
And I also got an awesome
Wonder Woman to the side, horse over here.
I got that Deadpool bust, and it was signed by, it was a Randy Bowen piece.
Did Randy Bowen?
And he signed it and he gave it to me, and that was another one I sold to the store. And I remember it started combining, because we were coming to the shows, we go to San Diego, we started going to all the big comic book shows, and I loved it. It was like a dream. It sounds corny, but it was seriously like, I'd walk in, I would just be like, comics! And I'd come in my pants.
I don't know about that.
Yes, you do.
No, but I do recall, like, it was a war cry, man. It was kind of crazy. Like, in the middle of nowhere, you'd be talking, and all of a sudden you'd just be like, comics! And you're like, all right, dude, we get it.
And it was really awesome. But then I remember when I started doing drugs, I started not wanting to come. I wanted to go to the shows, but I'd have to worry about running out. And I remember actually, the one Comic-Con, I don't know, I think it was the first or second year here. Because like the first year here, I remember we came to it, and they had to let a lot of people couldn't get in. It was so big, and there was, right, that they had to go 20, turn away 20,000 people or something.
At the con itself.
Yeah,
but the first year they were kind of, nobody had done a con of this size in New York in a long time until these good folks, the New York Comic Con people did. And the first time they did it, man, they were just like, let's see if it works. They got one section of the Javits. And I remember there was like a New York Times home show on the other side, and a bunch of us kept going there and being really disappointed. You know? Like, wow, comics have become very subdued. And I'm sure other people went the other way and were just like, holy shit. A lot of fat Batman here. So the next time they did it, there was they'd gotten bigger space here at the Javits because of the crowd that showed up. You know, it's huge.
Still had to turn people away, didn't they?
Yeah.
A second.
Yeah, but they're getting it done. I'm sure they love your criticism.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's how many people want to come. It's so fucking amazing.
Yeah! Woo!
Good recovery.
It's true though. That's what I was saying. I'm saying it was so big, so many people were coming. They had to turn away people.
Right.
But I remember it was like the second year I came that I was doing stuff. And I remember being here and being so stoked, and I walked through and it was sort of that same feeling like comics. And I had stuff like the first day, and then we spent the night